Hey folks, good buddy creedmoorfury coming to you from east of Eden Growers Place, right here in his back to Eden Garden, Piedmont, North Carolina. Join me today for today's episode. I'm going to teach you something different, something new, and hopefully something that's going to do you lots of good. The sun was shining, the clouds are out now. It's a good opportunity for me to think about, well, putting things in the ground grow like roots. Today's discussion, we're going to talk about sweet potatoes. I'm going to show you simple methods for dropping your sweet potatoes and coming back in the fall and getting a harvest. Nice consolidated harvest, because that's what we want. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is step one. Step number one is to find somewhere that's full sun. It's going to get maximum light throughout the day, and the vines are going to be able to have plenty of sunlight to photosynthesize, make the energy they need, and grow your tubers at the base of them. So once you've selected a spot, all you have to do is rake it down nice and flat. In this particular case, we're doing it on the perimeter of my corn plot. We're going to companion these with the corn. I like doing that because, well, sweet potatoes, they grow robust and very few insects like to eat them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these down every 36 inches or so, and I'm going to manage these sweet potatoes and their vines to roughly a 36-inch diameter. Doing so is going to allow me to have a harvest of all my sweet potatoes right there where the plant is. If I allow the vines to wander all over the place, the vines are going to touch down to the ground, and they're going to grow small sweet potatoes in several locations instead of larger sweet potatoes in one single location. So it's basic. In this particular case, because I grow in a fairly fungal dominant area, there's lots of fungal pathogens around here. There's lots of things that like to eat your carbohydrates. They'll eat your starches if you put them in the ground. And we're growing these things basically, well, on top of wood chips, okay? The wood chips are beneath my feet. I'm going to place these things on the ground, and then we're going to cover them with wood chips. So step one is to rake the area clear. Step two, place your sweet potatoes. Step three, cover them with wood chips. And step four, give them water. If they need a little water, if the wood chips that you put on top are not already moist, it's probably going to be a good idea to water them. Additional steps that folks in the southeast can take. In particular for me, what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've put some powdered elemental sulfur into my pail. I put my sweet potato seeds, okay? They're seeds. These things were basically sweet potatoes, but they're small. We didn't eat them. I'm going to use them as seeds. There's no reason to grow slips. We've done this year in and year out for the past 15 or more years, and it just flat out works. This area, it's all it takes. So I'm going to go ahead and put these down every 3 foot. Y'all got that? Every 3 foot. Then I'm going to maintain them at 3 foot diameter. It's so simple. If they grow larger, you can eat the leaves, or you can plant new sweet potatoes. I got enough in the bucket here. We don't have to plant extras. First one's going to go right on the corner. I'm going to step back about 3 feet, put another one, and that's all I've got to do is keep walking. Hopefully I won't walk into something and fall over. Make the blooper reel. I'm fairly certain I'm going to have more sweet potatoes than I need. There's a big one. If you've got a small seed, it wouldn't hurt to put 2 seeds down. It's okay to have extras. You may find a need to plant these somewhere else. Let's talk about yield real quick. Put some of these down. They're not that large. They don't need to be that large. Just because I put a large sweet potato in the ground, it doesn't mean I'm going to get large sweet potatoes out of it. It's all about whether or not you've got all of the right things that they need to succeed in place at the same time. And really all they need is, well, some type of a media, which we're using the wood chips. You can use something else. I'm just using wood chips, just basically raw wood chips. You need moisture and you need sunlight. And on occasion, you might find that they might need a little bit of food. What kind of food do I use? Well, it's pretty well known around here that I like to use fish hydrolysate. I like to use bone meal. Some combination of those two, and that's about it. And really doesn't take any more than that. So if you need to, if it's necessary, you want to put a little protection on them, you can go ahead and put some aerobic activated compost tea. That's what I like to do, right on top of them. Often right at planting, once I'm done putting my wood chips down, which you can see me do next, I'll go ahead and I'll spray some compost tea on top of them, get all the right microbes in place, and that's it. Let it rip. The season's ready to roll. We're going to go ahead and do this right now, and then we'll come back in about 30 days and see how they've developed. In the case of this particular plot, we went ahead and I put compost on the area where we're going to be growing corn, and then I covered that with wood chips. So that's all ready to go. You can see the elevation is different where the sweet potatoes are going, and that's because I knew we would be putting 4 to 6 inches of wood chips on top of them. So ultimately, it'll all seem to be about the same elevation. Last year we grew our sweet potatoes here, and they were some of the most productive sweet potatoes that we've grown in quite some time. The method that we used, you're looking at it. Not sure if you can see him in the video, but just to my right here, your left on the floor, is my dog, Riker. And he really loves some sweet potatoes. Yes, you do, don't you, handsome boy? Yeah, he's hanging out with mommy and daddy today. So you see, folks, we're not really working too hard. And the truth is, if I don't have enough wood chips to fill in the whole entire perimeter around the garden, it's fine as long as I get some cover on the sweet potatoes. I mean, how many of y'all have had a sweet potato in a bag or somewhere in a corner of your, I don't know where, land, and you noticed it started to grow? They want to grow anywhere. As a matter of fact, the body of the sweet potato is the nutrient source that the plant needs to emerge from. It makes it one of the easiest crops to grow because we really don't have to feed it. In other words, it takes very little additional care outside of the sustenance that it was given, the endowments that it had, right from its birth, in order for it to become a whole entire new plant. Plenty of people talk about growing slips. Let me say what I can say about growing slips. We've grown slips and we've grown sweet potatoes from whole potatoes before, and I hate to say it, but the whole potatoes, they're always producing more sweet potatoes, more weight from the sweet potatoes, because the food is attached to the plant. So since the food source is there, it's very easy for it to take food source from the potato itself and from the environment around it. Combined together, you're going to get more weight at harvest. If you only use the slip, then, well, the environment has to provide all of the nutrients for it. It has to provide all of the sustenance, all of the care, all of the microbiology, all of everything, all of the elements that it requires to grow from plant into something that produces tubers that are meaningful to you. So this is my justification for planting whole entire potatoes all the time. Even when I'm planting reds and whites and yellows, they're always whole potatoes, or they're new potatoes, or at the very least, certified organic seed potatoes. They work the best. I got work to do. And I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. And I'll describe to you at the finish here that basically all I've done is put 3 to 6 inches of wood chips over the top of the sweet potato to insulate them. Made a little bit of mound, you know, kind of like a little mound over the top of it with wood chips. And I connected the mounds with other wood chips to keep them essentially uniformly covered all the way around this horseshoe shape. We want to do that because, like I said earlier, we're planting these out. We're reasonably sure that we're not going to have a hard freeze, but we still could see some frost. As long as they're bedded down there underneath this batch of wood chips, there's going to be no problem. They're going to be softening in there. They're going to be starting the process of germination. They're going to start to grow. And just as spring breaks and things get warm, within the next couple of 2 or 3 weeks, usually it takes about 4 weeks, they're going to start to pop out little vines. Little purple leaves start to come up, and those will gradually change colors towards green. And there you have it. So why don't you go ahead and follow me through here, and I'll show you what this all looks like. And here we are sitting right at the 4th step, where all we would have to do is water. And we're expecting rain tonight, so we're not going to water. We're just going to let Mother Nature take care of this for us. And later on, if it becomes necessary, what we never want to see is, we don't ever want to see the tops of our sweet potatoes If the chips compress down or they rinse down around the sides of your seeds or you're developing sweet potatoes, you're going to want to put some more wood chips on top of them. You don't want to let the sun see them, because if the sun sees that, well, it's going to get sun scalded, it's going to be burned, it's going to turn a little funky green. We don't really want to eat that. It's best to keep a good deep layer of wood chips over the top. The vines will find their way through. It's pretty easy to clip the vines back. I just use a regular pair of snips to snip them back and collect them all. You can harvest them for their leaves, or you can compost them. They make a great springtime compost material. All right, and that's pretty much it. Wraps up our session here, our early spring or late winter sowing session of sweet potatoes in Piedmont, North Carolina. If you haven't done so already, click the like button. If you haven't done so already, click subscribe button. And if you have someone that you'd love to share these 4 simple steps on how to grow sweet potatoes, share as well. Peace and God bless.